being the eternal optimist that I am is sometimes not a good thing, because I thought, okay, got this book planned out. I know what I want to talk about. I've done what they call mind mapping. I've done all of that. I know what I want in each chapter, and I'm going to knock this out in a long weekend. Yeah, that's not how it works at all. So it's a much harder process, because, you have so many thoughts you want to put out, but then you want it to be sort of, cohesive also, and that it is something that people are going to enjoy reading too. And I have a lot of stories through the years that kind of illustrate the different things we're talking about. And I have to remind myself of that it's a marathon. We're not going to be there in a weekend writing a book. We think we can do things much faster than humanly possible. Welcome to Aging in Style with me, Lori Williams. I'm an optimist by nature, and I believe you can follow your dreams at any age. My grandmother's journey with dementia ignited a passion in me to work with seniors. I've spent the past 13 years learning about seniors and aging. In my mid-50s, I followed my own dream and founded my company, where I use my expertise to help seniors locate housing and resources. On this podcast, we cover all aspects of aging. Join us each week to meet senior living experts and inspirational seniors who are following their dreams. The fact is, we're all aging, so why not do it in style? Hi, welcome to Aging in Style. I'm so glad you're here today, because I have a very special announcement. I have been working on something. Actually, I have been thinking about this project for years. And I finally decided to say, what the heck, I'm going to do this project. I'm just going to get over myself and do it. So at the end of January, I decided to start writing a book. And writing a book, as I said, is something that I've always wanted to do. Actually, since I was a child, I've always enjoyed writing and reading, but, never really had a story to sit down and tell. And what's been in my brain, and what's been, especially since doing all these podcasts for the last almost 2 years, so much knowledge that I have about senior living, along with the knowledge that I have learned from all of our guests, from our seniors we've talked to. We've talked to some super cool seniors in their 80s and 90s who've shared just some amazing insight into the aging process, and about retiring and volunteering and just continuing to grow as a person. And so I decided the time is right. Well, honestly, the time is never right, but you just have to push yourself to do this kind of thing. But I thought if the time is as right as it's ever going to be. And I decided that I'm going to write a book about senior living and share all that I have learned through the 15 years I've worked in senior living, the information, like, as I said, that I've learned from our incredible guests on the podcast, and also take in the last 15 years, the families. I mean, I've worked with thousands of families in all different types of situations, all different phases of their lives in the aging process, and different types of situations. Some people had money and could go to assisted living. Some people were trying to stay home. Some people had limited budgets. And I've just had so many people that I've had, the honor of working with through the years. And each day we get questions from people. And a lot of times they are the same questions. They may be put in a different way, but they're definitely the same questions. And I know there's a lot of confusion out there about senior living. There's a lot of confusion about what services are available. There's a lot of people feel their lives are over once they retire. And that's not the case. And we've had so many great episodes. We've talked about mindset and finding purpose, no matter your age. We've covered, Medicare, how that works, and different types of senior living communities, red flags when it's time to move. So I just have all this information that we have put together through the podcast, plus all this information that is floating around in my brain, taking up so much room. And it's just time to get it out on paper and put it in the format of a book. So that is my exciting news that I want to tell you. That is happening. I am about a quarter of the way done of the first draft. It is a process, writing a book. So you kind of go through this whole first draft section, which is just sort of like taking everything out of your brain and putting it on paper. and then it'll go to the editor and, so on throughout the rest of the process. I will say this, that being the eternal optimist that I am is sometimes not a good thing, because I thought, okay, I got this book planned out. I know what I want to talk about. I've done what they call mind mapping. I've done all of that. I know what I want in each chapter, and I'm going to knock this out in a long weekend. Yeah, that's not how it works at all. So it's a much harder process. I mean, I'm going to say it's about, 100 times harder than I thought it would be, because, you have so many thoughts you want to put out, but then you want it to be sort of, cohesive also, and that it is something that people are going to enjoy reading too. And I have a lot of stories through the years that kind of illustrate the different things we're talking about. So again, it's a process. And I have to remind myself of that it's a marathon. We're not going to be there in a weekend writing a book. I don't know what I was thinking. Just, there's good and bad to being an optimist, y'all. So sometimes as optimists, we think we can do things much faster than humanly possible. So I have to laugh at myself there. But anyhow, I wanted to put this out to y'all because my goal is to have the first draft completely done by July or August. I initially, had, like I said, it was going to be done in a weekend. But I have this goal of having it maybe July or August. Then it'll go on to the next stage. So it should be out, fingers crossed, by the end of the year, if not before. But what I want to ask y'all, I want to see what questions that you have always wanted answered. So I would love your input for the book, because I have an idea, because I know the questions people ask me on a regular basis, right? But I would love to have your input on anything that you've had questions about senior living. I can't guarantee, it's going to depend what the question is and if it kind of rolls with the book. Because if you ask me something that's sort of like not senior related, then who knows? It may be something that ends up in a second book, because see, look how optimistic I am. One book, and then why not start a second book? But I want your questions. I want your ideas. Just any thoughts you have, send them over to me. So I'm open to just seeing what you're thinking and making sure that I'm going in the right direction. So if you could do that for me, send me an email. My email is Lori, Lori, at loriwilliams-seniorservices.com. Or you can always go on my website, which is loriwilliams-seniorservices.com. Send me those questions or ideas or thoughts, anything you have. And then also please keep me in your thoughts and pray that I get this book done. No, I am going to get the book done, but it's a much more complex process than I thought it would be. And, kind of interesting to know, side note here, when you're writing a book, it sort of brings some things out that you hadn't thought about, and some things like, I believe the term is imposter syndrome. Like I've actually had some moments of that, where you're sitting there and you're thinking, what am I doing? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. No one's going to listen to me. No one's going to think this is good information. And then you just kind of have to tell your mind to just shut up and go, yeah, you know this stuff. You give people advice on this all the time. So it's very interesting. And if you've ever wanted to write a book, I would advise you to do it. It's hard, super hard, but it's really very enlightening as well. And I know when the book is complete, it's going to be a party. I think I'll have a party, but it'll be a relief, but also like a huge feeling of accomplishment. And I'm excited to be able to bring it to people. And I feel like it's going to be a help, because I can't reach every single person. So here's another avenue that I can reach people who maybe aren't listening to the podcast, or maybe want some of the things we've talked about condensed into a book that's easy to follow, easy to read, with a lot of great tips. So that's my plan and my goal for the book. And thank you all for listening. And as I said, please send me your thoughts and comments and questions, anything you want to see in the book. All right, I got to go, because I got to go write my book now. Talk to y'all next week. Bye-bye.